Hi, my name is Connor Mead, and I'm here at the 2016 Canadian Science Policy Conference. And joining me today is Dr. Bonnie Schmidt, who's the president of Let's Talk Science. So Bonnie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So to get us started off, why don't you tell us a little bit about Let's Talk Science? What makes it unique and what makes it important?
Well, Let's Talk Science is a national education and outreach charitable organization. We work right across the country, coast to coast to coast, with preschool to grade 12 students and teachers, and we deploy about 3,500 volunteers from 43 universities and colleges to help us engage young people, educators, families in STEM-based activities and programs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what do you find are some of the greatest challenges that we face right now in Canada in terms of STEM education? And what can we do to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think we're at a point in the history of the country where, especially as we get to 2017 and want to take a look at where the country has come and where the country needs to go, STEM education and education in general really is at the heart of change that is coming. We see that the development that we've needed to have young people prepare for a world gone by almost an industrial age economy is now being shaped and morphed into systems that can allow kids to have the critical thinking skills, the collaborative skills, the kinds of process skills in addition to content knowledge that will be needed for a new economy. And that's what our talent panel talked about at the policy conference.
Yeah, so tell us about that panel. Who were some of the other speakers and what were some of the key outcomes from it?
Well, we had a great panel that represented a variety of stakeholder issues. So we looked at the need for talent in a digital age. How do we prepare people for rapidly changing technologies so that they're not only users of technologies but want to become creators of technologies? We talked about a new project that Let's Talk Science is doing called Canada 2067 to envision a future over the next 50 years for STEM education. We talked about the critical importance of post-secondary students in STEM disciplines to have voice and participate at especially at the university level of where science education and their own training opportunities can evolve. We had a great perspective from industry. So what does industry need from talent as they are out seeking engineers, technologists for the future? And 3M Canada did a great job looking at how do you help workforce evolve their skills as well? So it was a fantastic panel.
Great.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your vision of 2067 that would reflect a complete success of the new initiative?
Yeah, it's a complicated issue because education is a jurisdictional responsibility. So we're trying to shape a conversation that will allow the country to agree upon some of the outcomes that we want. So we now need young people to leave high school with as many doors open as possible. We need people to understand that STEM is underpinning opportunities at college, skilled trades, university programs, and yet they're dropping out. Like only 19% of kids are leaving high school with grade 12 physics, which means 4 to 5 aren't eligible for engineering. And of them going on into post-secondary studies, we just don't have enough young people realizing the breadth and diversity of opportunities. So big trends that are happening in education are more from moving from the subject discipline to looking at outcomes. So what are the kinds of skills and the kinds of competencies that we should be graduating our young people with, many of which are developed through STEM-based programming for sure. But also, how do we incorporate the attributes of risk tolerance, which if you've got a graduate degree in science, you definitely build a lot of risk tolerance, right? Because your experiments are not necessarily working. So it's a lot of the habits of mind that as researchers we develop, and communication skills, for example, as well, problem solving, critical thinking. How do you work in teams to solve really big, hard problems? How do we take those attributes, that training that we get later in our training, and how do we get that happening earlier in the K-12 system? So across the country, around the world, there's a big drive to try to move towards developing people and citizens, workers who have those kinds of capacities. And that, I think, is going to be a really big thing that needs to happen in the K-12 system over the coming years.
Great. So what do you think are some of the key things that we can do in the short term to start making positive progress on that front?
Well, we need to, I think, accelerate pockets of excellence and really showcase them and celebrate when things happen. I think we need to get the STEM community even more mobilized than they are. Like at Let's Talk Science alone, we've got thousands of STEM-based volunteers who are out and motivating, inspiring young people. I think one of the toughest things, though, will be to align as a country in a common language. What is it that we want to achieve? And I think once we even get there, it will be even easier to unlock the potential of all of the amazing people that are in the country. So how can we support curriculum development? How can we support the coming together of the arts and science to be able to build creative, critical thinkers? And there's lots of activity that's happening. Some of the things that we really want to see happen now is get to a tipping point. So align those pockets of activities, those pockets of success, and do something really big and bold and exciting in the country.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic plan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. My last question before we go, where can we go online to learn more about the great work you're doing at Let's Talk Science?
Well, you can go to letstalkscience.ca, and to learn more about the Canada 2067 project, that's at canada2067.ca.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
we'll check it out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.